Growing up in the small town of Elkhorn, Wisconsin, I always had a fascination with the unexplained. I would spend hours on end reading books on Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and all that good stuff. I was convinced that there was more to the world than what we could see, and that there were mysterious creatures lurking just out of sight. My buds and I would often explore the woods nearby, searching for any evidence of these elusive beings. Of course, most people in town dismissed our beliefs as childish fantasies, but I always remained convinced that there was something out there. It wasn't until I had a personal encounter with the unexplained that I truly understood the power of the paranormal. I was driving home late at night from my shift at the local diner when I saw something moving in the shadows near the side of the road. As I got closer, I could see that it was a massive, and I mean massive, creature with shaggy brown fur and pierced yellow eyes. Its snout was elongated, like that of a wolf, but its body was more humanoid. I was terrified, but couldn't take my eyes off the beast. They say you never know how you'll react in those type of situations until it happens to you. I can attest to this. It was then that it looked directly at me and let out an unearthly howl. It seriously freaked me out. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There was no denying that there was something freakish about the creature in front of me. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. A true monster. After that night, I became obsessed with finding out more about the creature. I spent every spare moment in the woods, searching for any evidence of its existence. I talked to locals and researched old books and articles about the area, trying to piece together the puzzle of what I had seen. Over time, I began to hear more stories about the creature from other people in the area. Some called it the bear wolf, while others referred to it as the indigenous dog man. It seemed like everyone had a different name for the creature, but they all described the same physical characteristics. I met a few people who claimed to have seen the creature. We formed sort of a support group, swapping stories and theories about what the creature could be. It's since become a really fun group to be a part of, but at the time, it seemed rather dire. As my obsession with the creature grew, so did my fear. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched every time I entered the woods. I even began carrying a weapon with me everywhere I went, trying to be prepared for any situation. The creature's existence consumed me. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Even when I was at work or with friends, I felt like I had to uncover the truth about the thing, no matter the cost. Thankfully, I never faced any physical harm during my investigation, but the fear of the unknown was enough to keep me on edge at all times. I pored over old books and articles online, looking for any information about the creature. It wasn't until I stumbled upon accounts of people calling it the Beast of Bray Road that I realized what I had seen that night. I learned the name of the creature through my own research, piecing together information from various sources. The Beast of Bray Road is said to be a cryptid, a creature that has not been proven to exist by science. It's thought to be a humanoid wolf hybrid, a type of creature that has been reported in various parts of the world. I never found concrete evidence of the creature's existence, but my research and conversations with locals led me to believe that I had indeed encountered the infamous Beast of Bray Road. I learned that the beast is often described as a bear-wolf hybrid or indigenous dogman, and sightings have been reported in Wisconsin dating back to the 1930s. While some dismiss the accounts as mere folklore, others claim to have seen the creature with their own eyes. I found it hard to believe that such a creature could exist, but my own encounter left me with a sense of unease that I couldn't shake. After my encounter and subsequent research, I became obsessed with finding the Beast of Bray Road. I scoured the surrounding areas, hoping for another sighting or some concrete evidence of its existence. But no matter how much I searched, I couldn't find anything. Eventually, I had to accept that my encounter may have been a one-time occurrence. My encounter with the Beast of Bray Road left me with a sense of wonder and terror. It's hard to explain, but the experience left me with a renewed sense of respect for the mysteries of the natural world. I realized that there is so much that we don't know about the world around us, and it's both exciting and terrifying. My obsession with the Beast of Bray Road took a toll on my personal life. I became distant from my friends and family as I poured all of my energy into searching for the creature. Eventually, I had to take a step back and focus on rebuilding those relationships. But the experience will always be with me, and I'll always be fascinated by the unexplained. My encounter with the Beast of Bray Road was a life-changing experience that I'll never forget. It's made me more open-minded and curious about the world around us. I'll always wonder if there's more to the story than what I experienced, and I'll always be on the lookout for other unexplained phenomena. The Beast of Bray Road may be dismissed by some as simply nonsense, but I saw it with my own eyes. I may never find concrete evidence of its existence, but I'll always be on the lookout for more clues. Who knows, maybe one day I'll have another encounter with the Beast of Bray Road, or something equally as mysterious. I grew up in a Mormon family and was taught to never believe in anything paranormal. My parents would always warn me against it and tell me that it was just superstition. However, as a child, I loved watching Star Trek, and that love for the unknown and unexplained has stuck with me through the years. Recently, I had an encounter that shook my beliefs to their core. It happened at Bear Lake, a beautiful and serene lake nestled in the mountains of Utah. I want to make it clear that I am still an avid Mormon to this day and full-heartedly believe in the teachings of the Church of Latter-day Saints. With this being said, based on my experience, I know that God works in mysterious ways, and we, as human beings, do not know everything that He has put on this earth. I was camping with my spouse and group of friends near Bear Lake. It was a beautiful night, and we were all sitting around the campfire, telling stories and roasting marshmallows. That's when I saw something moving in the water. At first, I thought it was just a fish or maybe a log, but then it surfaced, and I saw that it was something else entirely. It was absolutely massive and had shivering scales all over its body. Its eyes glowed red, and its sharp teeth glinted as it opened its mouth. I was in shock, unable to believe what I was seeing. The next morning, I went to the local library and started researching. I spoke with some of the locals and learned that there had been rumors of a creature in the lake for years. Some called it the water devil, but due to my faith, I didn't want to call it anything of the sort. I couldn't believe it. I had always thought that these stories were just myths and legends, but now I wasn't so sure. Over the next few days, I couldn't shake the image of the creature from my mind. I became obsessed with learning more about it. But the more I dug, the more confused I became. I found myself obsessively making our tent more secure because of my anxiety. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was watching me, even when I was nowhere near the lake anymore. It really freaked me out. Thankfully, we didn't face any physical harm during the camping trip. However, the fear and anxiety I experienced was overwhelming. I continued my research, reading old newspaper articles and speaking with locals who had seen the creature themselves. It wasn't until I stumbled upon an old book at the library that I learned the creature's name, the Bear Lake Monster. I was stunned to discover that the Bear Lake Monster had been sighted for over 150 years. There were even reports of Native American tribes warning settlers about the creature in the 1800s. Because of strange occurrences, it remained a mystery. Some speculated that it was a species of unknown aquatic dinosaur, while others believed it was a type of giant sturgeon. In the end, I never did find a concrete explanation for the creature. However, learning about the history and the folklore surrounding the Bear Lake Monster gave me a newfound respect for the power of the unknown. Eventually, our camping trip came to an end, and we packed up our things and headed home. I knew that I would never forget my encounter with the Bear Lake Monster, but I also knew that I needed to let go of my fear and anxiety. The experience had a profound effect on me. I realized that there was so much in this world that we don't understand, and that the things we take for granted might not always be what they seem. As a Mormon who was taught not to believe in the paranormal, this encounter with the Bear Lake Monster challenged my beliefs and made me question everything I thought I knew. Despite my initial fear and confusion, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at the mystery of it all. The Bear Lake Monster was a reminder that there are still things in this world that we have yet to discover, and that there is always more to learn. As a self-proclaimed Trekkie, I couldn't help but compare my encounter with the Bear Lake Monster to the adventures of the Starship Enterprise. It was like I had stepped into my own episode of Star Trek, facing the unknown and coming away with a newfound respect for the mysteries of the universe. In the aftermath of the investigation, I found myself constantly thinking about the encounter and what it could mean. Was the Bear Lake Monster an undiscovered species, a creature from another dimension, or was it something else entirely? While I may never know the true nature of the Bear Lake Monster, I am grateful for the experience and the perspective it has given me. It has taught me to keep an open mind and to always be curious about the unknown, no matter how unsettling it may be. I must admit, initially, this experience made me question being a Mormon entirely, as everyone I told this story to at the church originally thought it was nonsense. But instead, it has expanded my faith and my spiritual awareness. I now feel I am on a mission from God to expand other people's minds and bring more open-mindedness to the people in my religion and the entire world in general. I truly believe this is why God has put me on this earth, and I know that's why He made me have this terrifying encounter with the Bear Lake Monster. If God put the Bear Lake Monster on this earth, then what other mysteries did He put here for us to discover? There is so much about life, our planet, and our universe that we don't know. In my humble opinion, it makes life so much more exciting. My pastor agrees with me, and I now regularly talk about this experience and how it's changed me as a person to all that come into our church. I was living in Dover, Massachusetts, and I saw what I thought was an alien. I was walking home from my girlfriend's house when crossing the street in front of me was a creepy-looking humanoid creature with rosy tan skin, large glassy eyes, and a watermelon-shaped head on a small, stick-like body. I was just a normal guy, nothing out of the ordinary. I had no prior experiences or interest in the paranormal or unexplained. I was just living my life in Dover, going to school, and hanging out with my girlfriend. When I saw that thing, it changed my life forever. The thing must have spotted me, and it just stopped in the middle of the road and froze in a pouncing position. At first, I thought it was someone pranking me in an alien costume or something like that, but it was too realistic. I was seriously in fear for my life, and I was certain that this thing was going to try and kill me. I started looking around for potential escape routes or things I could use as a weapon. The thing didn't move a muscle. It just stared directly at me with its creepy eyes, and I was completely freaked out. We just stood there for a while, and without any warning whatsoever, the thing just sprinted away and jumped over someone's fence. I just stood there for a while, still in shock, trying to figure out what the hell had happened. At the time, I was absolutely 100% convinced I had just seen an alien, and was convinced that the Earth was under attack. I called my girlfriend terrified, and she just laughed hysterically at me and made fun of me for the better part of an hour. Finally, the adrenaline had worn off, and I told her that she was right. I told her good night, and I headed home. I knew what I saw, but I was just trying to convince myself that it was some punk kid in an alien costume who was pranking me. Then I remember I got that eerie feeling that someone was watching me. And then I looked behind me and saw it again. The creature was crouched over and looking right at me. This time, I was ready for a fight. I was not going to let this little alien kill me. I sprinted at him, screaming, and prepared to tackle him just like I took all those other kids down in football. The thing let out this hideous screech and scurried away before I could get to him. As soon as he was out of sight, I ran home as fast as I could and locked all the doors and windows. After my encounter with the alien, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was obsessed with uncovering the truth about what I had seen. If I had seen one, how many of them were out there? I had so many questions and couldn't focus on anything else. I started doing extensive research, trying to find anything that matched the description of the freaky thing I saw. At first, my description of the little gray man brought up all kinds of similar experiences with aliens, and I was sure that I was getting close to the bottom of it. But when I looked into the experiences in the surrounding area, that's when I was first introduced to a creature referred to as the Dover Demon. I had never heard of the Dover Demon before, but the description matched what I had seen perfectly. Huge watermelon-shaped head, big black eyes that shined like marbles, and a tiny body with long, spindly appendages. I read as much as I could about the creature and other sightings, trying to understand what the hell it was and why was it in Dover specifically. I was shocked to learn that the creature had been seen so many times that it had an official name, and I was confused as to how I hadn't heard about it before. It did, however, give me some relief to know that I wasn't crazy and that others had experienced the same thing. The name Dover Demon sounded pretty sinister, and I shuddered at the thought of encountering it again. The more I read about it, I realized that my experience was not an isolated incident, and there were several sightings of the creature during a short period of time. All of a sudden, it seemed like everybody had a story about seeing the Dover Demon. It was all over the news. All the kids at schools were talking about it, and best of all, my girlfriend admitted that she was wrong and I was right. I had seen something paranormal that night. It seemed like everyone had their own explanation and theory about the Dover Demon. Some claimed it was a lost baby moose. Some said it was an escaped pet gibbon. Some said it was an alien, and some said it was an elaborate hoax. But nobody knew for sure what the hell it was. One witness of the Dover Demon really caught my attention. She described a strange encounter she had had with the creature, during which it communicated with her telepathically. She said it had told her that it was not from our world, that it was simply passing through and observing our planet. The witness had been dismissed as crazy at the time, but her story stuck with me, and it made me feel a little less crazy. And maybe I did see an alien that night. I eventually came to the realization that I may never fully understand what I had encountered. The Dover Demon remained a mystery, and I was left with more questions than answers. However, the experience permanently changed me. I no longer took for granted the things I couldn't explain, and I found myself more open to the possibility of the unknown. I also became more cautious when traveling alone at night, always keeping an eye out for any strange occurrences. You never know what you might find roaming the streets at night. After the whole thing, I couldn't help but wonder what other unexplained phenomena were out there. It was really humbling to realize how much we don't know about the world around us, and how much we still have to learn.